In this video, I'm going to list the best 4-star, mainly free-to-play weapon options, while also explaining why they're good and which characters can make use of them the best. Also, only a small percentage of my viewers are actually subscribed, so if you end up finding this video helpful, then consider subscribing as it's free and you can always change your mind. I'm going to include all the completely permanent free weapons such as those that are obtained from forging or fishing, a few good 3-star weapons that all of you already have, 4-star weapons on the standard banner pool that after a while of playing or pulling you will get a few copies of. Some recent event weapons, nothing from over a year ago though, so don't worry. I will not include 4-star weapons that are exclusive to the weapon banner. First let's look at the best swords. Favonius Sword. All Favonian weapons are amazing of course, and so is this one. It has a low base attack but gives 61.3% energy recharge, and along with the Favonius passive, it is great for any support that needs a lot of energy, or is in a team that requires a lot of energy. If their ER requirements are high, which they usually are, it's the best weapon for Farina, Kazuha, DMC and PMC, Xingqiu, Lila, Kaya, Kirara, Jean, etc. Also, it is the best weapon for Xilonen if you don't have her signature. The extra particles from the passive make it a great option on all the sub DPSs and supports who rely on their burst. Next is the Finale of the Deep. This is a craftable weapon from the Fontaine series. This weapon is great on most sword DPSs. It has an attack percent substat, and its passive boosts attack percent and also gives flat attack when you are healed. It's very useful on all attack scaling sword DPS characters, for example Skirk, Clorand. It's great on Ayato, Ayaka, and Keqing. It's often their best 4-star weapon option, and also outperforms other 5-star stat sticks. So if you don't have Mistsplitter or Haran Geppaku Futsu or Uraku Misugiri, this is a great option. Next is the Calamity of Ishu. This is a very recent event weapon, and it is another DPS option that is great on a lot of sword DPS characters like the ones I previously mentioned. It has an attack percent substat, and its passive boosts normal and charge attack damage percent bonus, along with a pretty nice crit rate buff. Makes it absolutely broken on characters like Skirk and Clorand, but you do need a consistent good shielder on the team to keep good uptime on this passive, otherwise this is a useless weapon. I also want to mention Harbinger of Dawn because this 3-star weapon at R5 is pretty damn good on characters that don't scale too well off attack. It provides so much crit value, both crit damage from its substat and crit rate, which makes it really good if you can maintain uptime on its passive. This weapon needs you to stay about 90% HP, which basically requires shielding or strong healing, but it isn't that hard to maintain. Hence, it is a great option on Albedo, Chiori, Alhaitham, and even Keqing in aggregate teams, and often outperforms a lot of 4-stars and is comparable to 5-stars. Or for attack scaling units like Clorand or Ayato or Ayaka, I would just use Finale of the Deep. Sapwood Blade is Bennett's best free option, high base attack and an ER substat. Dark Iron Sword, or even better, Iron Sting, is an EM stat stick which is great on Kazuha and Kuki Shinobu for Hyper Bloom. Flu Sonder Freeman is great on Farina, as it provides energy recharge and elemental skill damage buff. So that's it for swords. Next let's look at Polearms. Next we're looking at Polearms. The catch. I'm sure y'all already have this weapon fished out at R5. If you haven't fished for it already, please do so because it is so worth it. It's one of Raiden's best weapons and her best 4-star. It gives a big ER stat along with a passive that increases burst damage and crit rate. It is Zhang Ling's, Rosaria's, and Candace's weapon and you should definitely use it on them. It's really OP on Zhang Ling and outperforms a lot of 5-stars and is also completely free. This is a White Tussle, another 3-star weapon that can be obtained from exploring Liwa. It's Arlecchino's best free weapon and outperforms all other 4-star weapons for her, and is also pretty good on Sino. It's a big NA damage buff from its passive and a crit rate stat that is really useful. Black Tassel gives a lot of HP percent, and this makes it Shieldbot Zhongli's best weapon as it makes him a lot tankier. Chevreuse can also use it to get to 40,000 HP a lot easier, which maxes out her attack buff. It's pretty nice. Favonius Lance is OP on every and any sub-DPS or support Polearm user that needs ER or is dependent on their burst. A lot of characters seem to want it. Escoffier, Kachina, Ian San, Chevreuse, Yao Yao, Mika, Yunjin, Shenhe, Raiden, Thoma, Rosaria, Zhang Ling. These characters have really high ER needs, and this helps with that. There's even an option on Zhongli if you need the energy recharge for the team. So many characters want this weapon, I recommend keeping 2 or 3 copies instead of refining it. Lastly, Tamayuretai no Ohanashi is a very recent event weapon that gives ER stat along with a passive that buffs attack and attack speed. Also great on Xiangling and all the characters that I previously mentioned since she can snapshot the attack buff, but Catch is generally better. It's great on Ian-san, the Escoffier, as it provides all the stats they need. Really good on Shenhe, works for Rosaria, and yeah, it's basically a replacement for Favalance if their ER requirements are lower. It's alright, but kinda bad on Zhao and Emilie. I mean, you really don't have any good DPS 4-star polearm option. But if you do want to buy the Battle Pass Deathmatch, you should be considering it. Next, let's talk about bows. Favonia's bow. This is fully free weapon actually. Again, ER substat, so that gives a lot of particles, so burst line characters that have ER issues like Yelan, Diona, supports like Hujosara, Goro, Auroron, Faruzan especially, and Kale use it really well. Yes, it is a great weapon on Yelan. Other ER requirements tend to be really high. Venti can also make use of it well. Next, Stringless. It is a good 4-star standard bow that provides an EM stat and a great passive actually, boosting both skill and burst damage by a lot. Unfortunately though, it's only really good on Fischl in Dendro teams and Venti, who kinda sucks these days in floor 12. Still though, it is a great weapon for Fischl and you should use it on her if you don't have any 5-star options. Song of Stillness. This is generally the best 4-star bow DPS weapon, although sometimes Hamayumi and Chainbreaker are comparable to it. It requires a bit of healing, has an attack percent substat, and boosts all your damage when you're healed. Hence, it is a great option for any attack scaling bow DPS like Chaska, Child, Fischl, Yoimiya, Ganyu, Linny, etc. I recommend using this weapon before you get a 5-star bow like Amos or Aqua Simulacro or Thundering Pulse, etc. Sometimes though, it can be inconsistent because Bennett only heals you if you have under 70% HP. In those cases, Chainbreaker is better and is also a pretty good option. But these do not really come close to 5 stars, I just wanted to let y'all know. Lastly, I'd like to talk about the Slingshot. This is another beautiful 3-star weapon that has a low base attack of course, but it gives 31% crit rate at level 90, easily R5able, and massive 60% damage increase if you stay close to enemies. This is absolutely amazing on Tainari, great on even Yelan in low ER teams, and you can leave it at level 1 for her by the way, works really well on Yoimiya too. On Yoimiya, and especially for Setos, this weapon is only beaten by their signatures. If you're a beginner with not many other options available, this also works pretty good on other bow characters that I mentioned earlier. Overall, Slingshot is easily one of the best 3-star weapons and you should definitely use it if you're F2P as it beats out a lot of 4-star weapons too. Next we have Catalysts. Number 1. Throwing Tales of Dragon Slayers is easily the best 3-star weapon in the entire game. It gives a massive 48% attack buff to the character who you swap to. Even if you cannot get it every rotation, even if the user is not an HP scaler, even if it's left at level 1, any Catalyst supports Undisputed best in slot weapon. The list of users is endless: Lali, Tsukuro, Tubaiju, Barbara, Kokomi, Charlotte, Lanyan, Mona, you get the point. It is an OP weapon. It greatly increases the DPS of attack scalers. Oftentimes, it is a bigger increase in team damage than the support character's signature weapon. I'd like to also mention that Prototype Ember is Nevilette's best 4-star weapon option. It also works great with Baiju or Kokomi or even Nahida in some niche scenarios. It gives a big HP percent stat, helps stack freeness fanfare, and greatly reduces your ER requirements. I'd like to talk about Vidset. Vidset is a cracked 4-star catalyst. It has a crit damage substat, which is pretty rare, and its passive, depending on RNG, either gives you a really huge attack percent buff, an EM buff, or an elemental damage percent buff, which is insane on characters that can make use of it. If they can make use of all the 3 stats, it beats a lot of 5 stars in weapon rankings and comes close to their signature. Wriothesley, Melt, Varesa, in Dendro teams, Yaimiko, Yanfei, Klee, etc. can make use of it the best. But hold on, even if the character only finds 2 of the stats useful, the average damage it gives from a few rotations makes it still a great weapon option for them, and often their best 4-star. So this includes a lot more characters like Mualani, Wanderer, etc. It's also really useful in speedrunning if you want to try that, but if you don't have the vid set yet, you can also consider Flowing Purity. It is a craftable weapon, and it's also great for all attack scaling DPSs, like I previously mentioned. It gives a lot of attack percent, and buffs your entire damage if you can clear the Bond of Life with a healer on the team. Most of the craftable Fontanian weapons are pretty OP. Magic Guide works good on Nahida, also on some supports. Sacrificial Fragments and Favonius Codex are decent options, but no, not really, just use Ringtail of Dragon Slayers. It is usually a lot better and you can get ER from your artifact. The last weapon type, we have Claymores. Unfortunately, there are not any great supports that can make use of Favonius Greatsword or Sac Greatsword. There's like Sayu and Dori, but they're pretty shit characters, so yeah. If you're going for Battle Pass and don't have any plan in mind, go for Serpent Spine as it's the best, most generalist OP one. Putting that aside, Tidal Shadow, the Fontaine craftable weapon, is your best bet for any Claymore DPS, as it gives attack percent and damage percent boost if you get healed. So it's generally good on Mavuika, Navia, Diluc, Gameng, etc. For Knight, I think Earthshaker outperforms it. Mailed Flower, that was from an event, I think around a year ago now, is also really good on Mavuika, Diluc, and Gameng. The EM substat is really useful and it gives attack percent too. So that is about it for the list of all the good 3-star and 4-star weapons aren't exclusive to the weapon banner. If you enjoyed or if you want to add any other weapons to the list, make sure to comment down below. And next I think I'll make a video on Mavuika or Emilie or maybe even Stygian Onslaught, I don't know. But until then, see y'all next time. Thank you.